Hello, I'm Sue, the creator of Cut Couture and Cut Couture Kits. So your Hilary has arrived and you're ready to get making. Hilary has got a tailored waist with 4 darts at the front and 4 at the back, a wrap adjustment tying at the front, pockets that can be removed if required and will fit most sizes. If you're cutting her short, use the spare fabric for something ingenious and let us know what you get up to. Tag us at Cut Couture Kit. Instructions will give you step-by-step narration with images, and this complements the written instructions that are included in your kit. Pause or rewind at any point to make sure you make a perfect pair of culottes. Remember, you're creating your own customizable couture garment, so take your time. Fast is fine, but accuracy is everything. So slide up to your sewing machine and be so creative. So let me give you the heads up on a few things before you start making. Seam allowances are 1.5 centimetres unless otherwise advised. You've been supplied with a magic marker to highlight notches and draw lines as an alternative to tailor's chalk. It fades in air or with water, so don't worry, it will disappear completely from your culottes once you wash after manufacture. Linen fabric does naturally fray. Although this fabric has been pre-treated to keep fraying to a minimum, please do zigzag or overlock raw edges where instructions advise. Your care label has been printed on an offcut from the cutting process. Cut this to a rectangle, leaving a border around, and then zigzag the edges or overlock the edges to prevent fraying during washing. This can then be attached to an internal seam allowance on completion of your garment. Your designer label has been printed on natural cotton and will dye to match your garment if you choose to garment dye on completion. If dyeing a dark shade, you may wish to attach the label by hand after dyeing so that you don't lose the clarity of the logo and the print. If dyeing a pale shade or leaving your culottes white, attach the designer label during the manufacturing process. Linen is a natural fibre and does contain natural slubs and flecks, which should be considered part of the beauty of the fabric and not as a defect. Please only use 100% cotton sewing thread supplied, because standard also thread contains polyester, which is a plastic and will not dye if you choose to garment dye your culottes. This will leave you with white stitches on a coloured garment. You've been supplied with enough thread for all the seams with a straight stitch and a wide zigzag stitch where suggested. Now we're going to take a look at the panel pieces supplied in your kit. Hilary is symmetrical, so you will have 2 of everything. 2 culotte panels left and right, 2 facings, 2 pockets, 2 waist ties, a length of cotton tape for using as a tie at the back waist, your cotton thread and 6 buttons. You'll only actually need 4 buttons for the manufacturing of Hilary, but we've supplied a couple of spare. We're going to start with the waist darts, which will add shape to the waist of your culottes. Before we sew, you need to highlight each notch on the panels with your magic marker. So draw a little centimetre line down from each notch at the top of each panel. There are 4 on the left and 4 on the right at the top of each panel. There's a notch on each side of the curved seam of both panels and a notch towards the hem, which will be used as a point to cut off if you're going to prepare the shorts. Now in industry, rather than using tailor's tacks, we use drill holes to mark the points of darts. You will see you have 4 drill holes below the notches at the waist. Take your magic marker and 2 centimetres below each drill hole put a dot. This will form the point of your dart. From each dot, draw a diagonal line up to the corresponding 2 notches at the waistline. These will form the lines on which you will sew your darts. Now set your machine to a wide zigzag. We're going to neaten some edges before we sew the darts. Take one of the large culotte panels and zigzag the curved crotch edge in the centre and the left and right edges of the panel. Then repeat the process with the second panel. Trim any stray threads to keep your work nice and neat. If you've got an overlocker, then of course you could use your overlocker for this neatening process, but please remember to use cotton thread in case you want to garment dye your culottes on completion. Now we're up to sewing your darts. If you're new to garment sewing, don't worry, this is an easy process, particularly now that you have your pen lines to give you guidelines for sewing. So take one panel and pinch up the fabric between the two pen lines and pin in place as per the first image. Make sure the centre crease of the dart is down the centre of the long triangle so that the pen lines lie on top of each other. Now starting from the top and working down towards the dart point, sew on your pen line, have a little bit of back stitching at the top and a little back stitching at the dart point, but stop one stitch short of the point because it makes it much better to press and gives you a much flatter line on pressing. Making sure that you pinch the darts to the same side each time. Repeat the process on all darts, both panels, so that you have 8 darts at the end of the process. Then on the wrong side, the side in which you've pinched up the darts, press the darts towards the centre curved seam. Then turn the panels over and press the darts flat on the right side of your culottes. Secure the darts flat with a pin and then on the right side, using a wide zigzag stitch again, neaten up the top edge and trim off any frayed fibres. Okay, so that's the darts done and we're now ready to move on to starting to assemble the panels, first of all with the crotch seam. Place the panels right side together and carefully pin around the curved crotch seam, matching the notches and matching the corners. Now using a straight stitch, carefully sew around this curved seam, leaving a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. Remember to backstitch both at the start and the finish of your sewing line. To reinforce this seam, stitch again on top of your first sewing line all the way around the curved seam. Remove all your pins and with a sharp pair of fabric shears carefully snip this curved seam. Take care not to snip any of your stitching. With a 2-dot steam iron, press the seam open all the way around the curve using the point of the iron to get around the curve. Snipping this seam allows it to sit flat to the body. You now have the front and back of your culottes assembled. Move on to the second video in the Hilary instructions series. There are 3 in total. The second video gives information on how to produce the waist ties and how to attach the waist facing to your culottes.